Hey, welcome back, fighters. It's Zach with the Parkinson's gym. Sorry, I'm laughing here. I've got this crazy setup. I wish you could see it. I got two lamps on my desk. I got a cat on my desk. This is Laura. I've got my phone. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. There we go. I've got my phone. Rubber banded to my coffee mug. I've got this is fancy. This is really fancy. Yeah. She's a strange cat. All right. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Say bye. Okay. So we're here with the Parkinson's gym, and I have another dreary blog topic. I am sorry to do this, but it is important. I wish I could bring bright and happy stuff, but seriously, Laura, bright and happy news. But last Friday, the 15th, was the anniversary, the one-year anniversary of the suicide of one of my rock-steady fighters and coaches who started with me with Parkinson's and moved on to a volunteer and then went and got certified to be a coach. And after some bad fights with, thank you, Laura, after some bad fights with bipolar disorder, took his life 1 year ago on the 15th of February. And this hit me very, very hard. As I've been fairly open with, I struggle with depression. Let me straighten my coffee cup out here. I struggle with depression. I have been very close to suicide. It's hard to explain to someone who has never been there. But more in your line of work, Parkinson's makes people, is thought to, I can't find 100% convincing studies. I'm a statistics guy and I can't interpret this stuff. But Parkinson's makes suicide more prevalent, or to put it a different way, suicide is more prevalent in people with Parkinson's. And although, again, I cannot find really good connection and really good definitive answers, I surmise from all of my experience and research that it is due to the lack of dopamine. So, as you most likely know, Parkinson's, oh my gosh, Parkinson's is caused by, thank you, Laura. I need a cat sitter. Parkinson's is caused by the death of dopamine-producing neurons in your brain, in the brain of a person fighting Parkinson's. So dopamine is thought to be the reward chemical. So when good things happen, dopamine cooks off, and you feel good. Things happen. Things are, yay, that was fun, that was good. So you can kind of see the natural progression that when you don't have the normal supply of dopamine, that when good things happen, it doesn't feel that good. So depression and apathy are also much more prevalent in people with Parkinson's. So you can see this all kind of coming together, that the apathy of just not wanting to do things because they don't feel good anymore, and the depression because it's day after day of that, it just doesn't feel good. Things that used to be rewarding and fun aren't anymore. And depression is the #1 cause of suicide. So here we go. Here's some big numbers. In 2017, there were 47,000 deaths due to suicide. It is the #10 overall killer of people in America. It has been steadily increasing since 1999. Between 1999 and 2017, there has been a 33% increase. in people. I hesitate to say committing suicide because it's kind of like saying committing cancer. Depression is a disease, and it can kill you, just like any other kind of bad disease. It can kill you. You don't commit pneumonia, you die of pneumonia. So that makes a difference, doesn't it? But yeah, so that's you're looking at words there. So it's people dying from suicide, a 33% increase since 1999. It is more prevalent, 1.8 times more prevalent in rural areas than it is in urban. Not completely understood. You can kind of come up with your own conclusions there. It is, and this is big, 3.5 times more prevalent or likely in men than it is with women. 77, almost 78% of the people who kill themselves are men. With about a 50-50 ratio we got, that's out of whack. This also leads to the issue that men have a higher propensity for Parkinson's disease. This averages out to about 129 suicides per day. If we were to even all that out, it would be one about every 12 minutes. That is hard to believe. That really is a lot to take in. Where's the number? 47,000 people. That's just in America. 22 a day. 22 veterans, on average, kill themselves every day. And in my experience, it seems that veterans have a higher propensity towards Parkinson's disease. Completely non-medical, non-proven as far as I can tell, but the exposure to stuff that may be causing Parkinson's or triggering Parkinson's seems to be higher in the military, whether it's jet fuel or Agent Orange, which has been recognized by the VA as contributing to Parkinson's. Whatever it is, of all the mess we're exposed to in the military, something, in my experience, something seems to be triggering Parkinson's. Another big aspect here is for every person that actually does kill themselves, there are 25 people that attempt. So you're looking at 1.4 million attempts every year. So that would be like the entire, if every game of the University of Tennessee, which I think 103,000 fit in that stadium, if every single game in the 2018 season was sold out, it would really surprise me. But we'd have to have like 2 or 3 more games fully sold out 100%, every button, every seat, to equal 1.4 million people who have reached such an end of their thoughts that death seems to be the only answer. Now, as I mentioned, I've been there. I've been right there. And it is hard to understand and believe if you've never been there. Being able to look around and say, there is nothing left for me, or in this world for me, to the point that destroying yourself seems to be like a good solution. And you hear these sayings of, it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I think that's coming from the same people who wrote the song "Don't Worry, Be Happy," and I would like to punch them in the head. It's true, but that doesn't help when you're there. So here's what I tell people is, when you are deeply depressed and at the end of your rope, maybe a bad metaphor, and it looks like suicide is a good opportunity, is a good alternative, you need to realize that, especially in Parkinson's, that's not you. This is something going on in the chemicals of your brain telling you to do this. It is, it's very difficult to understand. When I am, I still deal with depression. When I am in the bottom, it's hard to look and say life is good, that life is worth it and I should stick around. But when I feel good, it's hard to see how I ever felt so bad. It's like there's two personalities, and man, I hope that's not just me, because I just admitted I've got some real issues up here. But and that's in my experience, is when you're low, it's hard to see how you could ever feel good again. And when you feel good, it's hard to understand how you ever got so low. So what I'm trying to say is, when you're down there, your brain is playing tricks on you. Your brain is showing you and telling you all this horrible stuff. All this terrible, terrible stuff. And that's not you. That's not your personality. It might be Gus just barking. It's just like that. You're trying to have a conscious thought, and your brain's barking at you because it sees something that maybe is or is not there. You know, see how I work Gus into these? Isn't that great? I don't really have a choice. So, I know the feeling, another point is suicide feels like you're going to unburden everyone around you, that you are a weight that they are all carrying and is slowing them down from them having their life. You're not. Okay? You're just not. You are not a burden. People want to be there for you. People want to take care of you. And having been on the other side of a suicide a year ago, I know that all you do when one commits suicide is you spread that pain to the people that you are trying to unburden. And that is not what you want to do. I know that. You know, that's what brought me back a lot of times, is I want to make their life easier by me disappearing. And it doesn't work that way. Although maybe your brain and your brain chemicals are telling you that it does, it just doesn't. It just doesn't. The other thing with what happens a lot is a cascade begins to happen. You feel good, and then one thing happens that sets you back. And you're not feeling, and then something else, and then something else, and then something else, and then something, and it seems like the universe is against you. And it eventually just beats you down into the ground, where that dopamine needs to kick back in, and it's not. And you don't feel good, and you aren't being rewarded, and you can't get back on top of this. The cycle has just spiraled in. And you need to know that this was not something after you or something trying to get you. It was just a series of consequences, just a series of events that happened. And that on another day, it will all turn around. You'll get all green lights. All your projects will work. Everything will be good. And you're back on top. You just have to make it to that next green light. Just keep trying. This is not you. Depression is not you. Suicide is not you. There is something in your head telling you and showing you all this terrible stuff. And you have to be able to disassociate from that and say, I'm not like this. There is a reason to stay around. There are people in my life who want me here. And it's hard to kind of pull that out of your head and look at it and say, hey, this is wrong. This is different. It's very difficult to do that. But I highly encourage of thinking about that and saying, you know, this is some other entity, some other problem talking to me and trying to make this happen. You know, if it was a wound, if you had a gunshot wound or you know, an infection or something, you'd say, that's it. That's what's making me feel bad. And you'd be able to say, you suck. But in the case of depression, it's in here. The disease is in here. You can't show it to people. You can't tell people the story of how it happened. It just is coming out in your personality, and that's how people perceive you, and that's how you perceive yourself. So you can't go, it's this. You kind of have to go, it's me. And that logically ends up is, then you need to destroy yourself. Just like you need to get rid of a wound, you need to get rid of the problem. And that doesn't help. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. You take your pain and you spread it out amongst everyone you know with suicide. It doesn't eliminate a burden. Oh boy, this got deep in a hurry. I'm sorry. If you are ever at the point where you feel like that's it, the only way out of this situation is death. I really, really, really want you, even if you think it might be the last thing you do, is to reach out to somebody and say, this is what I'm seeing and this is what I'm feeling. I want you to reach out to me directly, immediately, anytime, day or night. And I am dead serious. My phone number is on the website. I'll put my phone number, I don't know, I'll put it somewhere. You will be able to find this and call me. There are numerous suicide prevention lines. I'm going to pull up one here that you can call that is anonymous and is 24/7. One of them, the National Suicide Prevention Line, 1-800-273-TALK, 8255. SuicidePreventionLifeline.org is always there. Your pastor, your priest, your religious leader wants to hear from you when you're here, when you're at the bottom, when you're at the end. Your family wants to know because they don't want you gone. It may feel like it, and that's what your brain is telling you, but they don't want you gone. This is really not easy for me to talk about, but it helps to talk about it. It can be a terrible. Just in the past 8 months in Knoxville, I have heard about one suicide death of a Parkinson's fighter, and the depression won. It took over, and he couldn't see any reason to stick around anymore. But you do. You're here. You've made the investment. You've taken the time to join the Parkinson's gym, to do what it takes to fight back. And that could be the biggest step you take to get on top of this and get back up into the light and away from the darkness. Okay. All right. I really want you guys to think about this and take this to heart, because this is a big one for me. I'm sorry, this was a long blog, probably a lot more than you wanted, but it's a big one. So stay on it. Keep the workouts coming. I look fancy today, don't you think? It's a collar. I mean, it needs a lot of ironing, but it's a collar. But I'm going to head out to a workout right now. I want you all to make sure you're getting some kind of exercise to reboot your body, get the dopamine pumping again, and kind of pull back for a little bit, reassess, and then re-engage. Okay, there's a life out there that's worth living. So let's get on with it and let's live. Okay. Care about you guys a lot, and keep me posted. I hope this helps. We'll see you out there on the Parkinson's gym doing what we do. If you know anybody who needs to hear this, please send them this blog. I have no problem. No proprietary information here. Send it to them. If it'll help. If you think it'll help them, do it. Okay. We'll see you guys around the block. Take care.